Okay. I'm going to chant the two slokas, which is this paragraph is the summary of, translation of. Okay. Uh, Sorry. Let me see. Actually, Tejamananda Swamiji has taken these 10 verses and had given a discourse, and that has been printed in the form of a small booklet called Siddha Gita. So, if anybody want to read all the full commentary of each sloka, there's about 70, 80 pages book. That will be nice. You can do that. He says, Drashta Drushya Samayogat Pratyayananda Nishchayaha Yastam Swamatmatattvotham Nispandam Samupasmahe. He says, Samupasmahe. He says, we with a single pointed mind meditate on the blissful self, which manifests in the form of experience of pleasure when the seen and the seen come into contact with each other. He says, let me move this one a little further. He said, द्रष्टादर्शनदृश्यानि त्यक्त्वा वासनया सह दर्शनप्रथमाभासम् आत्मानं समुपास्महे. Just renouncing the seen and seeing, along with all latent impressions, that is vasanas, we meditate on the ever-shining self which exists prior to all mentioned above. So each verse was supposed to have been chanted by a different Siddha Purusha. I can say how beautifully each one is uh, expressing the pure Atman which appears as this multiplicity. Anybody want to comment or add? So, Dr. Noli, you want to read the next paragraph, sir?
Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir.
We adore the self that transcends the waking, dream, and deep sleep states of consciousness. We abide in the self that is the Turiya, the fourth state, the transcendental absolute. We meditate upon the self, which is the light of all lights, which cannot be defined as is or is not, and which is neutral to the concepts of existence and non-existence. We take recourse to the self, the absolute truth in which all these abide, to which all these belong, by which all these are sustained, for which all these exist, and which is all these. I think maybe you should explain.
Pardon?
Prabhuji. Yeah.
What is that?
I said you should explain.
It's such a beautiful comment. How beautifully Jyotirmanandaji has translated those slokas very beautifully, putting those two, three slokas together. These are the 11, this third and fourth verses of the Siddha Purusha's comments. It says, the fourth state, absolute state, ahamasmi, that waking state am I, that I adore. And you cannot say it is or is not. Why? Because there's no duality there. There's nobody else to say it is or it is not. Once you are absorbed in that, it is it. So only way expression is pure silence. Is it existence or is non-existence? It is. That's all you can say. It is. Only when you add something to it, then it becomes the names and forms. It is this, it is gold, it is silver, it is man, it is woman. Then it becomes the names and forms. But to Brahman, it is. That's all you can say. We take recourse to the self, the absolute truth in which all this abide. So, even the five elements, the subtlest of which, even the Akasha, is said to be in this Brahman. The so called infinite time is said to be within this Brahman. The within Brahman is the time, space, and names and forms. And it is beyond. So just like Lord Krishna says in the, I think the last sloka of the 10th chapter, I hold all this whole manifest universe in a small amsha of my great power, infinite power. So like that. So what is beyond is infinite. Though this world, universe looks infinite, it's beyond that is that unmanifest infinite, that Ahamasmi. So if it's
It
okay with
was
you, we will go ahead and chant those third and fourth verses too.
Yeah,
Raghuji. I
Yes,
still
Raghuji,
I did not get it because normally easiness is one of the quality of I don't know whether it's quality or whatever is a Brahman or existence or non-existence.
right,
Those two. So it is not Bia. He is right. He is Sat and Chit.
correct. Yeah.
So
So
how do we explain that statement?
I see that's what exactly that I thought I tried to say is when that alone is, when nothing else is, who is going to tell who that it is? So that's how I am understanding it.
Raghuji, I'll make a comment here.
Yeah,
In Ashtavakra Gita, in the last class, the who is who, what is what, and all the questions came.
right.
At the time, Jyotiji was saying that you go even beyond Brahman.
Yeah,
Like even Brahman is it. So then when explanation was given, it said, Brahman, and then all these names that we give, Sat Chit Ananda, it's all the names that we have given. But he is without the name, without anything.
right. Yeah,
So here also is the same thing. We say it is his existence, but apart from that, there is nothing else is there. So what
right.
is there?
Yeah, right. So we have to continue
Even
to
if it is
contemplate and go beyond the thought. And then what you experience is you. Am I existent? Am I not existent? I'm not existent as a body, okay? But I am. So that's how I look at it if I have to say something. So,
so this only we have to be silent. We should not even say existence or Sat or
right,
Chit.
right, right. No
Yeah,
answer. Right.
what I understood, see, the example like it comes to me is actually for me, to realize my existence, I don't need my body or my name or form, right? So when you are in that Brahman stage, okay, the stage which so then that as Gita said, there is no Brahman, right? It is what I mean. That's a what a language problem now. We
Yeah,
can't really define it. It is to define to realize you. So there is no name, forms, Brahman, which I think Jyotiji was mentioning. Brahma means in the Brahmanda, the whole everything.
yeah,
That is why the name came, right?
right.
Brahma.
Yeah, yeah. So The Brahma means Bruhatvat Brahma. It is called infinite, so it's called Brahma. And so it's called Satchidananda. Okay? Thus it is. And it is consciousness. Consciousness is isness. And Satchit Ananta, that means infinite. So it's all the names for the same thing that's given to indicate for us to understand. But once he absorbed in that knowledge, in that state of heat of meditation, when the complete all the thoughts are gone, what is not. So that is the state, I think, that's being described here. So let us see if number 3 and 4 gives us some more enlightenment. He says, Dvayor madhyagatam nityam asti nasti ti pakshayoho prakashanam prakasyanam atmanam samupasmahe. He says, we meditate on that eternal self which exists amidst the notions of is and is not, illumining all that is seen. He says, Yasmin sarvam yasya sarvam yatas sarvam yasmaidam yena sarvam yadvisarvam tat satyam samupasmahe. He says, we meditate on the supreme truth in which exists all, in which all belong, from which all arise, for whom all this is, that by which all is pervaded, and that which is all this. So, from different perspectives, you use the words from, oh, everything exists in it, oh, everything belongs to it. Everything arises from it. Everything gets absorbed in this. And all this is nothing but him. So different way of expressing same thing, that all the names and forms are there are nothing but the manifestations of that Brahman alone. The only example is like a gold. If you go to a jewelry shop, you see thousands of different names and forms, but everything is nothing but gold alone.
So can we say Om, or Om also it comes as a name?
Correct. Correct. That's the reason we all get stuck with name and forms. But a wise person who has gone beyond it, who goes beyond all the arguments. You are right, you are right, you are right. If you are a Dvaitin, you are right. If you are Advaitin, you are right. You are Visitadvaitin, you are right. Once who reach the stage, all are right from different perspectives. So, is Dinesh Sharma here today? No. Okay. Karpagam, you want to read, Amma? Next
Parayo.
paragraph.
We adore the self, which is the all-encompassing reality, which includes the entire range of verbal expression beginning with a and ending with ha, and which is joined together by the nasal m. The self asserts itself in every being by the verbal expression of aham or I. The true basis of the I is the absolute or Brahman.
Yeah. Want to comment?
Please explain.
So I can see how beautifully the etymology of the word aham has come. So you can see when we open our mouth and say a sound, the first sound that comes from the larynx is ah. So that's why the alphabet starts with the letter A. Right in the middle, when you make a sound between the tongue and the hard palate, it sounds like ha. And then when you stop the sound by closing the lips, it becomes mm. So if it Combine all the three, ah, ha, comes aham. And the thing that we have to remember is all the sounds of all the letters of the alphabet are between this sounds made between a and mo. Okay, there's nothing you can make any sound any other way. And this, so what were 56 letters that are formed they form the alphabet, form all the names and forms of the world. So, in a way of indicating that all the names and forms are nothing but that Brahman alone. He says, Ashiraskam hakarantam asheshakara samsthitam ajasram ucharantam swam atmanam samupasmahe. He says, we meditate on the self which is indicated by the word aham, with a as the first and ha as the last letter, which encompasses the whole world of names and forms. So, in the commentary by Jyotirmanandaji, he adds the letter the nasal, which is not in this sloka. So, okay, and Mano Amma, you want to read the next paragraph, please?
Okay, Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Those who abandon the divinity abiding in the cave of the heart and run after the objects of the world in search of happiness are like the dull witted who abandon the already acquired Kaustuba gem, fulfiller of all desires, for the sake of worthless stones. The dull witted who, in spite of knowing that there is nothing tangible in the pleasures of the senses, still run after them, are unfit to be called human beings. They are donkeys meant to carry loads of karmas through the endless roads of repeated embodiments. He is talking about really the language that he uses is something else. But anyway, he is talking about the one that abandoned the divinity in the cave of the heart and run after the objects of the world, leaving the real Kaustuba gem and then going after the stones. So that dull-witted person, um, he does know that there is nothing there in the pleasures of the senses, still run after them. So according to the Swamiji, they're not human beings, they're donkeys meant to carry the loads of karmas through the endless roads of repeated embodiments.
Right. So, we all uh, express it very, very intelligently, elaborately, but we still go after the worldly things. We do not have that vairagya. And I feel it is this verses that really hit Janaka Maharaj, as we are going to see later on, that really made him to become withdrawn. So this paragraph actually is 3 verses. He says, Yastyajya Hrudguheshanam Devamanyam Prachantiye Te. Sorry, eyesight is getting bad. Te satnatmabhinchanti tyaktahasta tata kaustubhaha. Is discarding or ignoring the Lord seated in their own hearts. Those who seek other gods are like such people who discard the most precious Kaustuba jewel in their hand and desire an ordinary jewel. He says, सर्वाशाखिलसन्त्यज्य फलमेतदवाप्यते येनाशविषलीना मूलमाला viluyate. He says, the self gained by renouncing all hopes destroys the poisonous creeper of all desires. He says, बुद्धाप्यत्यन्तवैराग्यं यः पदार्थेषु दुर्मतिः बध्नाति भावनां भूयो नरो नासौ न गर्धभः. He says, having understood very well the joyless nature of the sense objects, that foolish person who again and again craves for them is not fit to be called a human being. He is like an animal. Gardabaha, that means a donkey. So, so when sensitive person, when he is going after a worldly object, when some guru says something like this, suddenly he will stop in his track and start contemplating and returns. So that's the reason constant chanting of this kind of slokas, understanding their meaning and contemplating and see how we are living our life is the pathway for us to change, to return to our inner being.
Raghuji,
And Manoj, you want to read, sir?
Raghuji, I just want to ask, in the translation, Swamiji's translated other gods, some people going after other gods. What exactly he means by other gods instead of, so you always have to think about self only, or
Yes, a person who is in Advaitin, who understands that he is that pure Atman, that Atman in him is what he is not different from it. Okay, then he has to go beyond the names and forms as the God is different from me. God is not somewhere else in heaven or in Vaikuntha or seventh world. He is all pervading everything, and He is in me alone. You can use the duality as a means in the beginning. But here the scripture is talking of the complete Advaita for complete realization at an advanced level. So, like in this second chapter, 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, when Arjuna asked the question, okay, whether we should worship the you, that means you as a form and name and form, or we should worship that nameless Brahman. Bhagavan says, no, those who worship me are better. Okay. Because most of us are ordinary people, it's hard for us to contemplate on that pure Atman as Ahamasmi. But once we continue to contemplate and purify our hearts, ultimate knowledge comes only from Advaita.
Raghuji, the
Hmm.
Swami Jyotirmananda trying to convey that praptasya prapti, there is no need to go
Correct,
after other things. You are already are.
correct. Yeah,
Praptasya.
yeah.
Yeah.
The,
In the Gita also another place I think Bhagavan says that if you trying to think my form as myself, that whomever is thinking this form is Krishna, then they are all mudhas or something, right? One this is there, right?
say it again.
uh, if anybody is actually thinking that my Bhagavan himself has a pointing, this is my form, I mean Rupa, and then those people actually really moved her, right? So that is one is there.
Yeah, if you are saying that people, when Lord Krishna says I, if you think that he's referring to that body, that's a muda.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes. When Bhagavan says I, he's referring to that infinite
Brahman.
Brahman with what you call Saguna Sakara here. So those who worship Saguna Sakara, it's easy for them to worship, to come to me. But those who worship the Nirguna Nirakara also come to me, but their path is difficult. Okay, Manoj, you want to read the last paragraph,
Yeah.
sir?
Just as in ancient times, Indra heard a thunderbolt against the rising summits of the mountains, in the same way an aspirant should strike the hissing snakes of the senses again and again with the rod of discrimination until they are subdued. Attain the sacred delight of a mental quiescence. When the mind is invaded by peace and tranquility, one enjoy the highest bliss of self-realization.
Yes.
So here, Swamiji is talking about controlling the senses. And the thing is, unless you can control the senses, and you have to control them, and this is discrimination. Uh, uh, and he says, once you get that, you get a quiet peace. And now the mind is by peace and tranquility, then only you can get that highest place, self realization, or the home.
Yeah. So let us chant those to the last two verses, and then we will discuss a little further. He says, कुस्थितानुस्थितानेतान् इन्द्रियाहीन् पुनः पुनः हन्यद्विवेकदण्डेन वज्रेणेव हरिर्गिरीन्. He says, a seer should destroy all serpents of sense organs, whether they are raised their heads or not, with the rod of discrimination, like even God Indra destroys mountains like with his Vajra, the thunderbolt. This one is a little hard to chant. Upashama sukha vittam vitram सुषमवत शममेति साधुचेतः प्रशमितमनसः स्वके स्वरूपे भवति सुखे chiraya. The seeker should attain that sacred bliss which is experienced as a result of quietening of the senses and the mind. This quietude is like the fire after it has consumed all fuel, and it leads the seeker to gain permanent abidance in his blissful self. So you can say how the importance of the Shama and Dama is stressed here. When you have developed a perfect Shama and Dama and have that state of Uparama, that reveling in your own self, then you experience that sacred bliss within your own self. And then that results in that quietude of the mind. So as long as the fuel of the worldly objects are thrown into our heart, then it continues to be agitated. When everything, all the names and forms have subsided, and your mind has become completely quiet, it is like the fire has completely subsided. in the forest. Same way that your mind becomes completely quiet. That is the state of the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. But you have to remember, you can be in that state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi even when you are interacting with the world. So that is the real Gnana Yoga. And so one has to continue to practice, practice, and practice. That's why for most of us it may take years and years, but we see the benefit of it even in our daily life when we make spiritual progress. That we continue to deal with the world with less and less agitations, less and less desires for the worldly objects, less and less what you call getting angry with people or jealous of people. So, because we gradually see the same Atman everywhere, and then we start evaluating, oh, he still has got to grow, okay? But then he's still interested in worldly things. Let me not try to give him advice to say, hey, don't go for this and don't go for that, okay? So the people are people. Everybody has to grow at their own pace. So I thought it was a very nice. I'm going to uh, put it in the WhatsApp group if anybody want to download and memorize it, like for Nidhi Dhyasana, you can do that. And also, if you want to buy that book, Siddha Gita, and read Swamiji's commentary, you can do that also. So we will continue all these 10 verses that he listened from about 10 different Siddha Purushas, what happened to him now. And Maya is not here. Nagarajan, you want to continue, sir? You can read the next 3 paragraphs.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om.
Section 9. King Janaka meditates upon the significance of the songs of the Siddhas. Sage Vasishta continued, having listened to these heavenly songs sung by the Siddhas, King Janaka became reflective. Just as a coward becomes frightened at the shouts of a battle, so too the king became frightened by the clamor of the world. Like a river rushing to the ocean, he rushed into his palace. Ascending the stairs to the uppermost story of his palace, he confined himself to a solitary room and reflected upon the significance of the words of the Siddha. Thus, it is indeed regrettable that I am being driven through repeated experiences of birth and death. It is indeed sorrowful that, like senseless stones rolling among stones, I am being led through birth, growth, disease, old age, and death. Oh, how expansive is time, and in its vast flow, the duration of my life is just a drop, most insignificant. Yet, I am so interested in this transient life. Why on me? Why am I so proud of this kingdom, which is just a particle of dust in the vastness of the universe? Why do I not direct my mind towards the removal of pain that has not yet come? So it is almost like a summary of whatever we are studying anywhere and everywhere. It's
Exactly.
interesting.
That's why it's called Upashama Prakarana. Yeah. So I can say how a ripe student, when he hears this kind of teaching, suddenly that he becomes completely withdrawn. And so what happened to him? And after hearing it, when he went back to the palace through the streets and all that, then he became extremely agitated. Okay, because he could not stay in that serene state, and so he withdrew himself into the highest level of his palace. Apparently, there are 4 or 5 levels. He went to the highest level and locked himself up. Okay, and started contemplating. So Indeed, how sorrowful that since senseless stones rolling among the stones, I am being led through birth, growth, disease, old age, and death. So apparently, he must have contemplated on this little bit before, and this one, particularly coming from the Siddha Purushas, really affected that person. So, and Rakesh ji, you want to read the next three paragraphs, sir?
Or you better go. I am endless in the beginning as well as in the end. This limited existence that appears in the middle is so transient. Why am I so attached to it? Why do I intensify my faith in the objects of the world that only gives rise to the repeated experiences of birth and death? What is there for me, whether the objects of the world exist or perish? Whether relatives and other forms of prosperity comes or go, like bubbles appearing and dissipating in the ocean, so are the objects of this world. There were great kings and emperors endowed with immense power, glory, fame, and prosperity. But today, they exist only in the form of memories, since those great personalities have all passed away. Then what makes me accept the perpetuation of my physical existence? What has happened to the treasure acquired by the kings and emperors of the past? What has come of their glorious achievements? All have passed away. Why do I place my trust on these transient possessions and attainments? By the sweeping currents of boundless time, millions of Brahmas, creators, have been destroyed. Millions of word systems have come and gone, and the greatest of all men have been reduced to the dust. Why then I to place my trust in a transient life? He's talking about what has happened and why I'm doing all this, because he's trying to count so many Brahmas, so many have what famous kings came, they were prosperous. Now they are all memories. They are part of a piece of dust. Same thing, my existence, very minute, like so many lives of the whole world, the Brahmas. So I'm nothing, just like a transient. And why I'm doing all this? So rather I leave this and try to the real self and try to achieve.
Right. Yeah. So, whatever that we achieve in this world is still limited. Okay. Like he beautifully says, if you look at the whole vast universe that we perceive with all the star manifestations and the just even the Milky Way galaxy, okay, our Earth is no insignificant. If the Earth is not there, the Milky Way is galaxy is not going to be affected in any way. And in that Earth, we take a small piece of land and say, "Oh, I am the king. I am the king." So such a laughable thing if you really look at it from that angle. So
Yeah, it is considered trillion galaxies, and each galaxy has got a billions of suns.
right,
And then in that, one small rock,
right.
and we are a speck in that.
Yeah, so that we are talking in terms of space and form.
Form,
And
yeah,
what about the time?
time, yeah.
See, the same way, so many Brahmajis have come and gone. One Brahmaji's life is said to be something like a 23 trillion years or something like that.
Yeah.
And so many Brahmajis have come and gone. Okay. And later on we will see even the Vishnus come and go and Rudras come and go. So in that infinite space and time. So like that. So
Yeah, in that there is something called Andromeda paradox. Okay, this is a galaxy called Andromeda, and say now we are actually both are actually sitting in Atlanta, right? And so Atlanta means around the same locality. And if I look at Andromeda and you look at it from your home, you will see two different timing, because I mean there is nothing called now also. They know because it's relative.
Yeah. That Andhra Vida was there millions of years ago. Yeah, probably is not there now.
Yeah.
The light that you are perceiving from that was emitted millions of years ago, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, anyway, Ratnama, you want to read, please?
Objects that are near to one's body are considered direct. Objects that are far away from the body are considered indirect or remote. And the body itself is considered to be the self. These are the three types of error in one's thought, possessed by the evil spirit of egoism. I have been wandering in the darkness for a long time. Like bubbles that appear and disappear in the ocean, so do millions of creators, Indras, and world systems appear and disappear in the ocean of Brahman. Even the mighty Rudra, for whom Brahma and Vishnu are nothing but toys, even he is bent low by the terrible time. Knowing this, why do I sustain this vain desire for a long life? Days and months continue to come and go, but never have I seen a day that could produce the bliss of Brahman. Why am I expecting to find that which is eternal, imperishable, non-dual, and blissful in the realms of time and space? Here, Jata is really reflecting, how the objects are, and even if the creators and Indras and Brahmas and, they Vishnus, they all come and go. Why am I thinking that I would be, why do I have to desire for a long life? Janaka is really reflecting, he's going in a deep thought, understanding what this world is, what it is. Hari Om.
Yeah. So, such a beautiful thing. So, only in relation to the body, something is me, something is near, something is far. But when you consider in terms of the infinite self, nothing is far, nothing is just me alone. Me alone. So, everything in different ways that you uh, relate to everything is nothing but that Brahman alone. This whole universe appears like bubbles in the ocean, come and go, come and go. And it is said, somewhere I read, we talk about one day of Brahmaji is 1000 Mahayugas, and that is multiplied by 365. There is 1 year of Brahmaji, and multiplied by 100 years, that becomes one lifetime of Brahmaji. Okay, it comes to something like a few trillion years. And there they say Vishnu is eternal. But according to some literature, say even the Vishnu, that one lifetime of Brahmaji is like 1 day of Vishnu. And so Vishnu has got also a end. And then same way, where does he end? In Rudra. And even Rudra, anything with name and form has to go. The same way that multiplied by 100, that is Rudra. So like that, even the Vishnu, Rudra, all these people, the deities come and go in that vastness of time. And so, unless you go beyond time and space, you're not going to reach that eternal state of bliss. Then that means nameless, formless, soundless. So you have to go beyond all that. So, Sarvesh, can you read?
Sorry, Raghu ji. I had a little procedure done on my teeth. I can't.
Okay, sir. So hope you feel better soon.
Thank you.
And Shobana Amma here? She did not come today. She was here yesterday. And Shirisha Amma here. No, Sudhirji. Go ahead, sir.
Hari Om Devi. Just as swans sports in a lake, so do desires for sense enjoyments spot in the lake of the heart. I have been led from misery to misery, from pain to pain, from sorrow to sorrow, and as yet I have not developed dispassion. How can the self be realized? Fire on greed, fire on greed and attachment that render the heart insensitive to the fact of transience in life. Whatever object I cherished in my heart, I have witnessed the destruction of with a sorrowful mind. Wherever I pinned my faith, therein I encountered disillusionment. What is there in this world worth desiring? Some objects are charming at the present and some become charming later on. In fact, all objects glitter with an illusory charm due to lack of spiritual enquiry. How can anything in this world be charming when it is afflicted by the company of perishability? Yeah, it is. I think King Janaka is just keep on contemplating. I think we all actually, I think we all think about this thing, right? That is all our thought process is actually just listed here. Why we are actually the falsity of or of our life. Because about it says that object charming is now it will be looking we are all when we are young everything is good looking good, and when we get older then we are a different our life it becomes changed, or else when you are powerful, or when you are young you are thinking that you can achieve everything. It all changes, right? It is all, nothing is permanent, and that is
Yeah.
what it is actually just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Whatever is actually like or likes become dislike become likes later. So it is the transient nature of the life. It is. I really like the whole contemplation what he is doing. I think we all have to, any new student actually, will have to go through this, then find an answer for it. That will be our goal, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You said it right. So this is for constant contemplation, so that we increase our vairagya. So the shama, dama, uparama, all these things have to continue to become more intense. Going for vacations, going even for at this stage, even going for so-called pilgrimages and snanam in Ganga river, all these things have to stop. Okay, enough is enough. So Ganga Snanam is in your own heart. So contemplate, 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 and that's the only way that one can reach that state. Satsang and study of the scriptures and constant meditation on this nididhyasana slokas are the means for our salvation. Okay, and Uma Shankar, you want to read, Amma?
Whatever a person seeks with joy, that becomes for him the source of pain and sorrow. Objects of today will become a prey to destruction in the course of time. Objects that are charming will lose their charm and turn into ugly forms. Pleasures of today are tainted by the shadows cast by the sorrows of tomorrow. Is there anything substantial to which I should take recourse? Devoid of the knowledge of the self, one suffers from
Dull-wittedness.
dull-wittedness during childhood, from blind passion during youth,
and from numerous worries arising out of family entanglements during old age. When does he endeavors to liberate himself from the bondage of the world process? Should I read another para?
Hey, if you want to read,
There are physical as well as mental diseases that infest the lake of the world process. How am I to find the cure when they abide in the hollow of chitta, mind? This world is filled with ignorant souls who are born only to die and who die only to be born. Rare are the illumined souls who are born to put an end to the cycles of birth and death, and who, having discarded their bodies, do not return to the world process.
want to comment?
Yeah, he is asking so many questions. How to get the self knowledge.
Right. Yeah. So constantly contemplate on the transitoriness of the worldly pleasures. So if I go after some object of the world, you have to go through so much trouble to achieve it. And then after you achieve it, the enjoyment lasts for probably a few days or a couple of years at most, and then it's gone. Okay? And then you're back into the same state, craving for more of the same thing or craving for something else. So, is there any permanent happiness from anything in this world? No. So, pleasures of today are tainted by the shadows cast by the sorrows of tomorrow. So, we all have experienced, we all have seen the transitoriness and how the objects that we pursue, the same thing, once you get the object, it doesn't appeal to you as much as that before you got it. And forgetting that, even he's talking about the physical and mental diseases that affect us. And you see the effect of it in the behavior of the people in the world. And this world is filled with ignorant souls. So, when I was reading this, I remembered a sloka from Kathopanishad, so I thought I would share it. He says, Anupashya yata purve, pratipashya tata pare, satyamiva martyah pachyate, yes, satyamiva jayate punaha. He says, remember how our forefathers acted. Consider also how others now act. He is contemplating to say when his father, Nachiketa's father, told Nachiketa, I'm going to give you to Yama. So I said, well, my father told me to give to Yama, so how should I behave? And he's contemplating, like corn decays, the mortal, and like a corn is born again. The mortal is just like a corn, born and dies, and then the seeds fall down, and then more corn plants are born. The same way, we human beings are born and die, born and die, born and die. Is there more to it than life? So, like that, you can say how a young boy was contemplating on that transitoriness of this world process. So,
Yeah, that second paragraph, devoid of the knowledge of the self, that is from Bhajagovindam.
yes.
Balastavat krida saktaha.
Yeah. बालस्तावत् क्रीडासक्तः तरुणस्तावत् तरुणीसक्तः वृद्धस्तावत् चिन्तामग्नः परमे ब्रह्मणि कोऽपि न raktah. So, in Bhagavan, nobody contemplates on, nobody revels in. So, during the childhood, you revel in toys, and in the youth you go after your opposite sex, and in the old age you keep worrying about, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I should have done this, I should have done that. Even at least in old age you can contemplate, but even then you are not doing it. So very nice. Anybody want to add comment? Okay. And Vijay ji, Vijay is not here, Vijay is not going to do. And Vishwa.
Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Who am I in comparison with those mighty personalities such as Brahma, the creator? There exists Vishnu, for whom the cycle of creation and dissolution is like closing and opening of his eye. But even he perishes, for millions of Brahmas and Vishnus and other divinities continue to rise and fall like the bubbles in the ocean of existence. With the relation to Brahma or the absolute, all human concept of divinity are in the realms of transcend, and therefore even the greatest of gods must perish in time. Continue, Guruji.
Yeah.
Objects of pleasure are acquired by feverish effort, and once acquired, am I reading the right page?
Once acquired, must be protected. Correct.
Like bubbles that appear and disappear in the ocean, so do millions of creators, Indra and world system appear and disappear in the ocean of Brahma. Even that mighty Rudra, for whom Brahma and Vishnu are nothing but toys, even he is bent low by a terrible time. Knowing this, why do I sustain in the vain desires for a long life? Days and months continues to come and go.
Where are you reading?
Yeah, where?
You're going back.
Yeah, I think my page has got stuck, Guruji. I'm sorry. Yeah, let me repeat it. Objects of pleasure are acquired by feverish effort, and once acquired must be protected with great care and vigilance. Yet, in spite of all effort, one must continue to fear their loss. Seeing this, even prosperity is nothing but adversity for me. It is better to roll in fires of hell and then to be subjected to the alternating experience of pleasure and pain in the world. Having entered into this uh, world process, which is thus only an abode of endless sorrow, how can a person expect any happiness? Those who have been condemned to be decapitated by are delighted when instead they are only whipped. So too, people in this world experience joy only because it creates an illusion of turning away from the great pain to a lesser pain. There is no substantial happiness in the object of world. Continue, Guruji.
No, you read the comment on it.
Yeah, I think this Swamiji continues to explain that the impermanence of this existence. He kind of takes the great examples of the demigods. Who, who even perish. They have an end. So but that thought process has to come in, reflect in one's existence, and there has to be a deep contemplation on that thought process that everything there it's this whole life is impermanent. Nothing is it is bound to change. That context of that strong statement is continuing here, Guruji.
Right. Yeah. So the whole the material world, our work is for yoga and kshema. Yoga means to process things that you don't have, and kshema is spending time in protecting what you already gained. And so, I want to become a millionaire. Okay, I became a millionaire. Okay, so I worked hard. Now I become a millionaire. Now I have to protect my millions. I keep worrying. Am I putting it in the stock market? Should I put it in there? Should I do this? Should I do that? You keep worrying day in and day out how the market is. So like that, there's a constant worry to possess things and to protect things that we have. Okay, when are you going to think of Bhagavan? Okay, so all this pleasure and pain, happiness and sorrow, they come and go. They are like fires of hell. So
No, it's world is full of duality. I think Swamiji is giving the best example of even this creation. Is going to come to an, in the sense, all these creators and powerful sources come to an end. So
right,
so that thought process has to be in our state. And as you said, even if you are successful, the people who are materially successful, and for people who are living ordinary life and suffering, for in all these three states, I think if we have if you are follow spiritual life, if you have this knowledge, I think you would you'd always be detached and be to yourself rather than being deluded by the material and the
right.
changes,
Yeah,
all the duality in the world.
yeah, yeah. There's nothing wrong in yoga and kshema, but know that these are the means for your long-term goal of the realization. So you have to do your karma, do it in the spirit of karma yoga, and not just for worldly gains alone. And with that karma yoga, you continue to contemplate. So you work and save money and all that for the future, but at the same time, don't make this earning alone is the goal. So that is what the Gruhasthas have to understand. Enough is enough, and if there is a time for earning, there is a time for contemplation. So one has to do that. And if money is the goal, then you develop all the other things, anger, jealousy, all those things will come. So
Gurudev says that possessing the objects of the world is not the problem. When they possess you, that is the tragedy.
correct. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Okay, Akilamma, you want to continue?
Yes, Raghuji. This monkey mind has been deluding my soul for a long, long time. But now I no longer delight in the fickle display of its fiendish dances. For a long time, I have been tied by the ropes of desires and thrown up and down by the fickle thought waves of the mind. But now I intend to attain supreme rest in the self. I consider sankalpa, thoughts sustained by egoistic vision, to be the mind. I will endeavor to destroy the mind by the removal of sankalpa. By doing so, the tree of the world process will naturally dry up. So, how long have I suffered? Again and again, through numerous embodiments, I have imagined my doom, dreaded my death, and grieved over the loss of my dear relatives and possessions. But now, I have attained the termination of all sorrows. I am enlightened. I have caught the thieving mind, which has been stealing my imperishable wealth of divine identity. This mind has been not only a thief, but a powerful enemy as well. And I had been under its influence for a long time. Wow.
Want to comment?
Removing the sankalpa was the one thing that really caught my attention, Raghuji. I consider sankalpa to be the mind. And to destroy that mind by removing the sankalpa. It's a very deep thing to say.
Yeah.
It's hard, it's difficult. And Swamiji has said it very easily.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. That's why you remember the two verses from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2. It says, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangasteshu Upajayate Sangat Jayate Kamaha Kamat Krodho Vijayate. That Kama is the Sankalpa. क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः स्मृतिर्भ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. The man dwelling on the sense objects develops attachment to them. That is sankalpa. That's constant thinking of the object. You develop desire. From attachment springs up the desire. From desire, unfulfilled causes anger. From anger arises infatuation. From infatuation, confusion of memory. From confusion of memory, loss of reason. And loss of reason, one goes to complete ruin.
So even when we try to remove those sankalpas, when we sit in meditation, our mind has all those impressions that keeps coming back. And what Gita ji had said is to ask who is thinking, who is asking, who is coming up with these thoughts is a very beautiful thing, because once we do that, at least for some time, there is a little void.
Right.
And the gap gets longer and longer as we keep doing this.
Right. Yeah. Just like Ramana Maharshi beautifully says, of all the thoughts we have, he divides into only two: I thought and my thoughts. My thoughts depends on the I thought. So if you contemplate on who am I, then that ego disappears. Then your mind becomes absorbed in your own self. That I that becomes nameless, formless, soundless. So
Raghuji, when they say sankalpa here, they're talking about the rajasic and tamasic sankalpas, right?
Correct. For the worldly things, correct.
We actually gone through in the Hamsa Gita also, right? There is somewhere it says that when we repeat a thought, thinking about objects, that will actually that's why my note says.
Right. So change term. Instead of thinking of the objects, constantly think of the Atman. If you are a bhakta, constantly think of your Ishtadevata. So, Anjaneyu sir, you want to finish?
Sure, Raghuji. Just as fog and mist are dispersed by the shining rays of the sun, in the same way the mind is dissolved by the light of discrimination. Let me meditate upon the teachings of the Siddhas, who have revealed to me the treasure of all treasures, the self that abides deep within my heart. Let me discover the treasure in silence. Having discovered the treasure of the self, I have attained the fulfillment of all desires. Just as during winter the clouds stop drifting and quietly adorn the mighty peaks of the Himalayas, so have my restless desires stopped their wanderings. They now brood over the mighty peaks of the divine consciousness. They exist only in appearance. Adorations to the light of wisdom, the illusions that this body is mine, or the I am the body, or the objects of the world are mine, have all been dispelled. I have destroyed the enemy mind by the force of samadhi, superconsciousness. Now I abide in the highest state of wisdom, ever free from the sorrow and misery of the world. So, in the
Should be ending anytime now.
in the Durvasana Pratikara Dashakam also, Swami Vidyaranya talks about this. Uh, Once your sankalpas can be tyaja, you can reject or throw them away by knowing the uh, Jagat Mithyatvam Atma Sakshatkaram and all this. What is eternal and so, and also Swami Vidyaranya talks about Jivan Mukta Viveka, also about Vasanakshaya Manonasha. Once these are lost, then you become abide in the self, then you are liberated. So abide in the self, abide in the self, abide in the self. Yeah.
Good. Well, Anjaneyulu summarized it beautifully, so I don't have to add anything. Very nice. Very nice. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ.
Hari Om, everybody.
Vishwa, would you do the summary in the next class?
Sure, Abhi. So it's section 7 to 10, right?
Right. 7 to 9.
7 to 9, I think, yeah.
9, yeah.
Sure, Abhi.
Okay. Thank you.
Hari Om, Bhagaji. Hari Om, Hari Om, Gitaji.
Hari Om.
Raghuji?
Yes.
I just wanted to see, because they say this universe is about 15 billion years old. But according to this one, this is perpetually going. We don't even know when it started, when it's go. There is no end.
The way I understand is, they're talking of this creation.
This creation.
Okay, that is the first day of Brahmaji, of this Brahma.
Yeah, but in the same way, we have been reading that there are so many universes.
Correct.
It's like so.
Yeah, it is.
The
universe.
The way I understand is, even the current scientists have realized that at the different vibrations, the different universes are. Okay. So by in the same right here, okay, that there's a different universe at a different vibration level. So it is mind-boggling for us.
Yeah, it's multi-dimensional. I think sometime back I explained, right? A line is a single dimension, and if you in a 2-dimension, you just put a light on it. That that single 2-dimension will become 1-dimension.
Yeah.
Similar way, if you put a 3-dimension object, if you put a light, put a light on it, you will see a 2-dimension object. Similar way, we are all some kind of a shadow of a 4-dimension objects. That is also a physical. This thing is there. That's what the multi-dimensional theory goes like that.
Yeah.
So 4 dimensions refer to our Mandukya Upanishad, Turiya and other 3 states.
No, that we are what I mean is on a 3-dimensional. You keep a 3-dimensional object and you put a light on it. What do you see? You see a 2-dimensional shadow, right? And on a 2-dimensional object, if you put a light, then you will see a shadow of a 1-dimension. So you do reverse. So we are a shadow because we are a shadow of a 4-dimensional object or whatever it is. That's what I meant.
Only Sudhir can understand. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's pure physics. So if you can actually test it.
And is it important?
But anything that you can test and conclude is still in this relative world.
No, even I think that is what is called Shastra. Shastra means also even this Upanishad and all. Why it is called Shastra is because you can prove it. That's the same way it is physics in science also. You can prove it. It is considered as Shastra, right?
Right. Yeah. Very nice. Ultimately,
I don't know what is really important here. Is
Right.
that like Anjaneyal Garu said at the end, work towards the vasana akshaya, work towards, those are the things in my life, in my thinking, they are important than the 4-dimensional or 3-dimensional or 1-dimensional. I'm not
Exactly.
sure about that.
Right.
Correct, yeah. Even I
See,
do.
when you actually go through this physics, right, in a higher physics, you will hear a lot of these type of experiments, and so that is what, it is really interesting. If you, then it actually you can draw parallels. Okay, so
I think Sudhirji is trying to do parallels, but yeah, even I do agree that at some point it might deviate our process. We have to stick to what the scripture says, as Manujian.
while the physics also now says that everything is same. So,
It is just an intellectual curiosity.
Yeah.
So also, let me tell Sudhir, the light, what we see, the light and dimensions, only certain wavelength you can see. You can't see ultraviolet or the infrared beyond. You cannot see them. They are there.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's only so much of the universe you are seeing, not the whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. That physics says even that is also some energy variation. It is, everything is as simply, if you divide, go back into quantum, then it is going to the